Hey everybody, and welcome to the inaugural edition of Strategy Guys. I am your first announcer for the evening. My name is Greg. To my left is Conrad.
Hello.
To his left is Stormy.
Hey, what's going on?
And to his left is Patrick.
I like turtles.
And to his left is me again. So we're going to take a couple seconds here to kind of give a brief introduction about what we're doing, what's going on, and what we're doing on the program this evening. I guess first of all, I should kind of tell you a little bit about ourselves, let you know a little bit about why we're doing it and our previous experience with games. So you guys feel free to jump in anywhere. I don't want to do a biography on myself, but I would say that probably
we're all just here for you.
You're doing
right. I would say that I'm probably the oldest gamer, not just
Senior?
not the senior. Yeah, the senior gamer. That sounds way better. I've been playing since the old Commodore 64 days. I don't know if you guys ever even remember.
I had. I've never seen
I
one.
played Donkey Kong.
They only keep them
Floppy
in
disk
museums now.
I had one.
Oh, did you?
I did.
I used
never
to
had one.
I used to love the C64 and then the C128 after that. But I grew up on floppies. That sounds weird.
Greg loves some floppies.
And then of course the natural evolution of systems from then on. I've played pretty much everything that's come out. I had a Genesis, a CD, Super Nintendo, all the hits, I guess. What about you guys? What was your first memorable system? What was the big one that got you started?
Well, the one that really got me started, whenever I turned 6 or 7, I got a Nintendo 64 for my birthday. Before that, my dad had an original Nintendo, so I had Mario, Ninja Turtles, Duck Hunt, all that fun stuff.
Classics.
I also had a Sega Genesis, and the only game that I had was Jeopardy. And it made me hate my life.
That's when you had to, scroll
can
through
you
the time,
can you
right?
imagine a 6-year-old playing Jeopardy?
Yeah, yes, a very sad 6-year-old.
I hate you, Alex.
I can't play Jeopardy now.
Yeah, that's still a pretty unfortunate one to have.
And then after Nintendo 64, I had a PlayStation 2, or a PlayStation 1, then PlayStation 2, and then after PlayStation 2, I just kind of transferred into Xbox. Xbox 360, I should say, and well, here I am.
What about you fellas? What was the oldest system you had?
Probably just the regular Nintendo. Because whenever I got it, I was around 4 or 5 when I started playing it.
Oh wow!
And I just remember playing Mario, getting close to the end of beating it.
So you were 4 years old when you got your very first system?
Yeah.
And you were playing at 4?
Yeah.
That's awesome. You don't really. I mean, I guess you see a lot more
I
of it
even asked
now.
my parents. I was like, "How did you know to get this for me?" And they said, "Well, we took you over to some of their family members' house, and they had one." And I sat down and started playing it, and I liked it. And they said, "Well, maybe we should get one for him." And it's screwed me since then. I've had to waste so much money on games; it's ridiculous.
You sound like a super eloquent 4-year-old. You were like, "How did you know to buy this for me, mother and father? It's exactly what I wanted. Thank you."
That's what
And
I
then
said.
it did like 2 years later, video
But
games was like,
ironically, my
brrr.
dad replied while wearing a monocle.
When I had my NES, my mom had bought it for my dad, and he really never played too much. I mean, he played Mario, but
So they kind of gave it to you as a sympathy.
well, I
Your old man don't like it here.
I just found it in a box, just in our storage, and I was like, oh, what kind of find is this? This is like Ollie North's treasure.
That sounds like the plot to a lot.
Wow,
of
what a
movies.
super relevant reference there. Thanks. Welcome to our podcast, 1989, everybody.
Definitely a lot of movie plots
You
going
guys
on
see the
there.
latest talkie?
Patrick, what would you say is the first system that you got for Christmas? Is it safe to assume that everybody got a system for Christmas?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think I didn't until Xbox 360.
No
What?
kidding.
But
Wow.
I got my 64 for my birthday. I bought a PlayStation 2 outright, and then my fat version of the PS2 broke, and I got the slim one for my birthday. But nothing for Christmas, really.
Well, believe it or not, my my first Christmas system was the Super Nintendo. I remember my sister, who was about 7 years older than me, got the Commodore 64. The one I have the fondest memories of is the Atari 2600.
Oh, yeah.
The wood grain 4-switcher.
That's absolutely, yeah. I had an old Intellivision with those little discs. And
That
Oh,
is
absolutely.
class right there. When you got wood on an electronic, there you go.
yeah.
This
got
is
wood
true.
right
This is
now.
true. Good times.
Have you guys? How many systems would you guys say that you've bought on the launch day? Like the day it came out, you were just like, gotta have
Oh
it.
crap! I was close on the 360. 'Cause that's when I had my huge DVD sale that I sold to the store where we worked at,
Yeah.
and that's when it was around about the time it came out. 'Cause that's when Call of Duty 2 was one of the launch titles for it, and then Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, and I was really wanting Dead Rising, the first Dead Rising when it came out, so I had to trade all that stuff in so I can get the 360.
Yeah.
But I think that's the closest thing I've ever came to any kind of deadline.
Yeah. You had any lunch?
For me, I've pretty much gotten them all on launch.
Wait.
After Super Nintendo.
Okay, I was gonna say
No,
like
no, no,
like
no,
what?
No, I
Super
was.
Nintendo came out on Christmas,
That's
and Patrick was
wait a minute.
right
That's-
outside the door.
That's a lot of systems.
It is a lot of systems.
I mean, we're talking like PS1,
Yeah,
PS2,
absolutely.
regular Xbox.
Guarantee it.
Wow.
I actually remember back in high school, well, right after high school, going and getting it was the GameCube, the PS2, and the Xbox all on the same day.
Holy crap.
Yeah, 3 systems all on the same day.
I wouldn't even known what to done.
My favorite one on launch day, the one I was most excited about was Dreamcast.
Yeah. God.
Oh yeah, the Dreamcast. We could do a whole show on that. I think the
I mean, I
Dreamcast
got
is
all the
awesome.
systems in that system year it came out, within the 6 months it came
Yeah.
out, but I was never a...
I did get a 64 on the launch day, and
Absolutely.
I got Mario 64, and I paid. I'm not ashamed to admit that I paid $1 bajillion for it. And I put it on. I had just gotten a credit card. I was in college, and I was like, "Yep, no problem. I'll pay this off in no time." And now it's like 35 years later, and I'm still like, "Oh man, this credit card bill's killing me." Thanks 64.
Still paying for it.
Yeah, it feels that way.
That's,
I like traded it for like a car CD player or something. It's super ridiculous.
The first system I think I bought on launch day was maybe the DSi. I mean, I was a lot younger whenever the 64 came out. I didn't have that kind of money, so I just kind of had to wait for a birthday for Christmas. They weren't just going to be like, we'll just buy whatever
Right.
you want. That's cool. Same for PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and then Vita was my more recent one. Yeah, even Xbox 360, I got that for Christmas also, but
Yeah.
nothing. I just didn't have a job up until
Right.
when that came out, so I didn't have that kind of money to just throw away on whatever I wanted.
right.
What would you say is the one thing that's in the video game industry that you just absolutely can't tolerate?
Oh, crap.
Noob tubes.
Well, I mean, any game that you're going to open up with, you're going to have like a multiplayer weapon or something like that needs to be nerfed down because everyone feels like, oh man, you can just aim anywhere, it kills everybody, awesome.
Sawing off in Gears
Right.
3.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean,
Do you mean like in the actual game, or do you mean
Just
as,
in-
as an
no, just in general.
industry question?
Just what bugs you in general, I guess.
I think whenever they put out a date on a game and they push it back multiple times,
That's very
now
annoying.
if they push it back once to either
with good enough reasoning.
with good enough reasoning, but I mean with Ghost Recon, that was supposed to come out in fall of 2010, and it's not coming out until
Right.
3 weeks from now.
Well, look at Diablo 3.
Well, that's Blizzard, though. I mean,
Blizzard.
that's almost
Like,
become a
Blizzard
They get a
as an
pass.
industry.
Blizzard Schmizzard, though. Don't promise me a game and then push
They're
it
being
back
backed
for
by
years.
Korea, though.
There went our Blizzard sponsorship.
Sorry, Blizzard.
Just kidding, Blizzard. Your games are always super timely.
Well, for me, I think one of the
You
more
mean
annoying
topless.
things would be crappy games that come out for cheap, because people buy them that you're just average John Q everyman gamer
Yeah.
is going to buy. And if you keep listen to me, people out there, if anyone is listening to this, don't buy crappy games because they will continue to make crappy games.
That's interesting coming from you because you are basically the king of budget titles. You are the same person that I see on a weekly basis, and you're like, "Hey man, have you played Blades of Time?"
Hey man, have you played Curse Crusade?
And then I'm like, has anybody played Blades of Time?
Probably
Probably
the testers, I'm sure, played it.
people that are
Until they
on
were fired.
Suicide Watch.
But
Okay.
But even so with crappy games, don't buy them when they come out. You know, wait till they sit around a while, collect dust, and these game companies learn their lesson.
you mean go bankrupt?
Hey, if that's what
That's what it takes. You don't
If
make
that's
another
what it
crappy
takes.
game, you lose your job.
yeah, don't
Fair enough.
Don't sell me junk. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so that's probably enough about us for everyone to realize who they like and hate. So what we're going to do is we'll talk a little bit about what's going on this week with video game stuff, and then we're going to dive into our 2 reviews for this session. It looks like the big thing today is Elder Scrolls Online is announced to be announced 2013. Big Game Informer cover story, but details are pretty vague. Other than it's MMO, it's going to be on PC. Looks like it's 1,000 years before Skyrim. So I don't even know where that.
Closer to Oblivion.
I would guess so. Yeah.
Do you know if it's going to take? Does it say anything about taking place in or around Oblivion at all, or is it?
I didn't see
or is
anything
just
on it.
called
Well, I mean,
Elder
this is
Scrolls
the first
MMO?
place that's kind of in that further away from Cyrodiil or Morrowind or whatever. It's all in that same area, so maybe it'll be in the vicinity.
The biggest kicker for me is, have they mentioned like a price point on the game itself and a monthly fee?
Probably not yet.
I don't think they have to really. I think it's pretty much considered. Nowadays a popular PC title is going to retail for $59.99, and if the Old Republic is any standard, it's going to be a $14.99 subscription fee. This being that makes perfect sense. It's BioWare. BioWare did Old Republic.
That's true.
It'll probably just be a
Right.
cut and paste contract, basically.
Right.
I'm not a big MMO guy myself, but the Elder Scrolls universe has always been extremely interesting. I think it's probably from a marketing step, they were like, let's do it 1,000 years before Skyrim. That way we don't have to have dragons in it. But that's just a hunch. But that'll be interesting to see. I mean, it had been rumored for a while anyway. But something needs to kind of take a chunk out of Warcraft, I think. I mean, I know that it's like the biggest and best thing ever.
There's been
but
a lot of competitors. There's been KOTOR, and then there's Knights of the Old Republic now.
Guild Wars.
You best say Guild Wars.
Guild Wars 2 is a
Yeah,
big competitor. That's very true.
Terra Online was supposed to help.
Rift.
Rift.
Yeah. Eve?
Other-
Is it? Eve?
Et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, there's quite a few.
But nothing's taking them down. Man, it just sounds like we are hating on Blizzard today.
That's cool. They're only own,
They
they're
won't
only,
hear this till late, so don't worry.
Get over yourself, Blizzard.
That's right. By the time they've heard this, we'll already be knee deep in Blizzard Activision polos.
Sweet.
Also, God of War, they've officially announced that there was going to be multiplayer in it, which is
Did they officially
Really?
announce that?
David Jaffe for Ascension.
I thought that was just that he was talking about it because he said when they were going to direct 3, he was thinking about doing multiplayer for that.
Oh yeah.
Now, how is multiplayer going to work on that? Is it going to be similar to like Ninja Gaiden 3?
You mean bad?
Well,
Yes.
Also, I don't even know how they're going to do God of War Ascension anyway, because
It's a prequel.
I mean, how much
It'd
how
have
much
to be.
farther before? I mean, I understand it's a prequel, but
if the trailer's any indication, it looks like it's supposed to take place right when he turns, like he's getting branded by Ares or whatever, and he's going to go do all his work. So I think it's like the first mission. I don't know. The God of War timeline's
It would have
ridiculous.
to be. Is there any gods left, or he's going to have to change religions?
Dude, I mean, there's the moral. I mean, all they got to do is go, hey, man, he's back. And how? Who cares? It's God of War, man. You don't buy it for the story. You buy it to just chop things in half a million jillion times until it's a fine puree.
rip people's eyeballs out.
Will you find that secret location where you get to have sex?
Also, another big thing we kind of left out: Black Ops 2. got
Black Ops
announced.
2 got
Definitely
the
big.
announcement that led to the announcement of Black Ops 2 was yesterday. I don't even know what to say, man. First of all,
I haven't played Call of Duty. I haven't bought a Call of Duty game since the first Modern Warfare.
I'm going to be optimistic on this one. I'm kind of a Call of Duty hater, but that doesn't stem from the quality of the game itself. It stems from the people that play it online.
Right.
Specifically,
That's pretty much what I go
specifically
with.
people under the age of 16.
Oh my gosh.
You know who you are. But I saw the trailer. As always, it's got an awesome looking frame rate. It's got very good looking graphics.
Well,
It's
yeah,
a smooth looking
very
game.
Smooth.
There's something to be said for even if you develop a property that you're not 100% fond of. I mean, like, first of all, there's no denying Call of Duty best-selling game of all time. Yippity doo dah. But even if they were developing a property that something that I hated, something I was just absolutely opposed to, the money that they have to put into the development almost guarantees that you're going to get a product that's on some level very satisfying.
Right. I mean, but the only competitor that they even have left is Battlefield. And that did fairly well, but it's always going to be that one game that's always the second rate of
Yeah,
backup.
and it doesn't look like there'll be a Battlefield this year. I
Right.
think Halo 4 will probably be the big competitor
Right.
this year. But yeah, Black Ops 2 obviously pre-order started. I think I saw an early report that said that they were already on track to outpace Modern Warfare 3. So
That's going to be pretty crazy.
they could have yet another best-selling. I mean, every year thus far, since at a certain point, it's been best-selling game of every year, and they continue to beat their record every year. I mean, it's a juggernaut. There's no denying it.
And you got to think that with the age range of everyone playing, they don't miss a generation because where it comes out almost every year. That one 14-year-old that played it is now 16. He can almost buy the game himself now.
That's
So
true.
you got to think the audience just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's very true.
Also, they have changed a pretty significant amount. Treyarch, they've always done past wars. They've done World War II. They've done Vietnam. And now they're actually going past Modern War, which, to my understanding, I'm pretty sure that they legally can't release a modern war game.
I definitely remember there being some kind of weird contractual stuff about the whole Infinity Ward thing, where they have to force themselves to work on different timelines, which basically they really needed to do anyway. How much
Modern
World
War.
I mean, yeah, there's only so much World War II stuff, and then I was telling somebody the other day it felt like that I had actually played every individual battle that I took part in the Second World War, like I knew it inside and out.
I think the jump. I saw that it's supposed to kind of take place in the 1970s and 80s, and then also kind of jump forward and back between the main character. Like I don't know if it's him or if it's him and his son or something, but the older guy in the commercial, like the trailer for it, is talking like he's in a current war, but he looks pretty aged.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So going from
suggestions.
Going from the past as far as the Vietnam War, and then Treyarch jumping up to 2025, I think there's going to be a lot of cool different options. The Witcher's on TV right now, and he's making some funny movements. Everybody's getting a kick
He's
out
staring
of it.
at the wall.
You guys leave the Witcher alone. He's doing his thing.
We'll get to that.
Let's see what else is going on this week. Looks like the Kinect update for Skyrim finally dropped. You know what? I've kind of spun my wheels enough on Skyrim to kind of put it behind me now with other games that are out to play. But I think it's really cool that they did this.
Yes.
It's a cool technology. I mean, like the Kinect in general was kind of poorly received by people our age, but
Right.
it's a cool trick. They gave it to us for free. I mean, it was a little behind, but still, I think that's cool.
Now, see, that's one thing that I have a problem with is that whenever you come up with the new, bigger, better thing or whatever, I know that these things aren't just readily available. However, if you're going to give me, let's take for example Batman. How long has this game been out? And then now you're going to, after all the DC is out there and available, and I understand marketing and this, that, and the other, but nobody's going to buy that.
You don't think so?
I think everybody's had enough time to take their picks of what they want and what they can do without, and they're not going to drop another $50, $60 on the same game.
Are you talking about the Game of the Year edition?
The Game of the Year edition, correct?
Oh, yeah.
But
I
even
think-
so, but also too with other DLC that comes out months and months and months and months later, everybody's already on the next big thing that's coming out, like Halo 4, Black Ops, Darksiders, anything like that. I think people these days just have attention spans that are a whole lot shorter, and people get these games, they beast right through them in a couple of days, and then they're done, and they want something new.
I'm gonna counterpoint that with something you said earlier today, and that's the Saints Row 3 DLC that's coming out. That's super old,
Which
but you're
is-
super pumped for.
Which is currently on my
Also,
iPhone
it's
right now, kind of looking.
It's
into
kind
that.
of a reward for people that actually don't want to trade their games in.
That's true. It's a cheaper alternative for the
Because
DLC.
either you kind of get you to play something right then, because I think, when does the Game of Years ever come out? After all the DLCs already been put out. It's always a little while after, so either you got to wait the whole time to wait for a disc to put it all on, or you can play it as it comes out, like cool little episodes that you get rewarded for actually keeping your game.
I'll give you that. That's a great point. You know, some people that have not even bothered to play the game, they're like, I just haven't got around to it. And now that this becomes available, that's great for them. However, for the admin hardcore gamers like myself, you know, you need to crank this stuff out a little bit earlier. Now, as for the DLC or for the Saints Row the Third, that's retailed at like a $30 price label,
for
whatever.
a DLC.
But it's
Right.
but again, you got to look at other games like what was that, Dead Rising Off the Record. That was basically like a $30 game, and more or less felt like a DLC.
That's true. That's true. I guess there's different. I mean, like I had always looked at the Game of the Year editions as sort of like, for people that don't have internet or they can't buy stuff.
That's true.
Like online. But I guess it has a couple of different purposes. I'm the kind of collector that likes to have the Game of the Year edition content just to have it.
If you
Right.
were to pick a time frame for a DLC to come out, how quickly would you want it to come out? Like what is it, Halo? They're supposed to 343 said that they were supposed to come out with something like every week or 2 weeks or something. They're supposed to consistently
That's going to be
release.
free though.
And it's all free. You don't have to pay for it.
THQ promised that too, back with the original launch of
I don't know.
Saints Row.
If you just go buy music games and you go on the Xbox Marketplace, you see that whole thing's just nothing but full of freaking Rock Band songs every freaking week, and you don't even see what actually came out because all the Rock Band songs are on there.
This is true.
But,
This is true.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, a couple months into it, so it gives you enough time to play whatever came out or whatever it came out in between. Then we come back to it like, oh man, I still got this DLC that I can play and download, so you can actually go through the game and have somewhere to actually go further from it instead of just saying, well, I beat it, now I just got to wait.
See, I need the DLC to release a lot sooner because games aren't as long as they used to be. Most games average at about, I think nowadays, like, 8 hours or something like that?
8 to 12, maybe.
8 to 10, 12, something like that. Back in the day, you used to be able to play an RPG for hours and hours and days and months and years and, you know, just be getting to the end of it. And that's without DLC. They took a whole lot of time instead of just trying to crank these things out, like mass production. I don't know.
No, you make a lot of valid points, really. Actually, more points than we even have time to get into right now. So
Thank you.
that's pretty much the stuff that happened this week in the games, or at least the bigger announcements. But we're going to dive right into the review now. We're reviewing 2 games this evening. The first is going to be The Witcher 2 on console, and the second will be Prototype 2. So without further hesitation, we'll launch right into The Witcher 2. Now, Stormy is easily the person that's played this the most, and that's coming from a guy that played it on PC but then started over on the console.
Who's currently playing it right now?
And who keeps dying, getting his ass
That's
kicked
awesome.
by a little-
Which is one of the
little
points I was
Gilly
gonna,
monsters.
which is the point I was going to bring up, because a lot of people that may have been playing this and like, oh yeah, it looks really good and everything else, and they play part of it, and because you only have like in the level up spectrum tree of, you know, like, oh, sword fighting or your health expands.
He's talking about you, Patrick.
You have a training spot that you got to go through, and until you like get out of that little tree to where you can actually upgrade your weapons, get cool stuff, you're gonna die a lot, and you're gonna have to save a lot.
It's a super aggressive game. It doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't really the tutorial that's on the console wasn't even in the PC version. It has a very, very strict learning curve. But at the same way, it feels very rewarding when you accomplish something or when you start to get the hang of something.
Would you compare it at all to Demon Souls or Dark Souls at all, and how hard it is to?
No.
This is the comparison I'll make between the two. When I play Dark Souls, I can play it for about 15 or 20 minutes before I have to stop playing it out of rage. This game, you've already seen me die about 7,000 times, and I'm still playing it. It's because I feel like it's a fair game, and I just have to be more tactical about my
Right.
combat.
It's kind of like playing Batman, like in the fighting aspect. You'll be surrounded by a bunch of guys, but as long as you can time it well and you know where
Use
you're
your
at in
counters,
the game,
your blocks,
right? You just
all
use
that.
everything that's available. You literally can't just hack and slash. You have to know how to use magic.
Yeah, you got to
You
roll. You got to.
I mean, I've been playing for hours, but I still haven't done much of the potion stuff where you actually regain health and stuff like that. But you still have to know how to use part of your magic and how to actually know when to roll away and to drag enemies into like little corridors so you can pick off one by one. It just takes a little bit of thought instead of just trying to hack and slash your way through the whole thing.
I'm extremely impressed with the level of quality that CD Projekt was able to pull off on a console game Instead of just kind of crappily porting it over, it looks really, really good. It's got some draw distance problems. It's got some pop in, but not so much that I was really frustrated by it. But overall, it looks really good for a console game. Now, of course, depending on your PC setup, it can look better on the PC. But that's true for just about anything that they take their time and do. But I genuinely expected this to either play atrociously or look horrible, and it's neither of those things. As a matter of fact, when I played it on the PC, I specifically got a wired 360 controller because it maps it out for you automatically, and it's the exact same thing on the console. So I love it. I think that was a really, really smooth way to do it.
I think the graphics have a slight drawback, but it is a console game, so you don't have as much.
It has its limitations.
You don't have your processing power as a computer would, but it looks good, and I felt when I played it, the combat flowed really well. It wasn't really sketchy or blocky or anything like that. It didn't have any real flaws to it other than being ridiculously hard
at first.
Yeah, it is.
First.
So Patrick, who hasn't said anything yet, is the person that doesn't seem to. He got rid of it right away. Do you want to take a couple of uninterrupted minutes and rant about what you don't think is worth it?
If I have to be the voice of negativity on this, I will.
Well, okay, I'll be the middle of the ground.
I'm just curious to hear.
There are faults of the game, but you're the one that had the predominant faults because you're the first one to get rid of it.
I believe I owned this game for a total of 2 days, and immediately brought it back to my local game provider store, whatever. There's certain things that bother me, and if you make a game so frustratingly hard, and I understand tact, and not everything's just a run and gun, hack and slash, just guns blazing. Some things do take a little finesse. I tried every different way. I tried finesse. I tried just going there and just kill mode. Nothing to no avail. I don't care about the character. I don't like the story. I could care less about any of this. Now you give me other games, which we'll get to, such like Prototype or.
You act like it was Voldemort. Like whatever you do, don't say Prototype. It makes him stronger.
But like Prototype, Alex Mercer and James Heller in the new one. Cole McGrath. These are characters that I like. I can genuinely not 100% relate to because I don't have electricity flowing through me, but
you don't.
You have an infection.
It
might not give you blade arms, but you've got an infection.
That's probably the strongest power I have. But yeah, it didn't grab me in. It didn't pull me in the way that it was shown to me or displayed to me or even advertised.
I'm surprised to hear you say that you think that the story in Prototype 2 is more compelling than the story in this.
It's not even necessarily that it's more compelling story, but how many times can I run through the woods and hack up goblins? I'm bored.
I'll report back, but approximately 1 million.
Same thing when you all were talking about Call of Duty earlier. It's like I'm so tired of war games. I've played so many war games that I could probably write a term paper on them right now.
Yeah.
I'm sick to death of it. I'm just looking for something different. Like you take games, and I know I'm probably going a little over on time. You take games like Bulletstorm with the leash and the kicking and the kill with skill. That was something different. No, I can't right now. I cannot recall a game that did anything similar to that. Another thing with Gears of War. I know that it's like a cover-based third-person shooter, mind you, but again, the story's enthralling. You've got chainsaws and things like that. The multiplayer is really good. This Witcher 2 just did not do it for me.
Well, I kind of want to comment on that. I myself am not a heavy RPG player just because I don't have the time to sit and play a game for 50 to 60 hours trying to go through the game.
Right.
And also, I feel like I'm a gaming perfectionist. When I play a game, I try and go through and find every sword, every
Exactly.
collectible, every potion, anything that I can find that can either give me an achievement or make me stronger. with me doing that, it takes me so long to find all that stuff, I forget the story.
Exactly.
so-
And when you can't make it through even the palace gate to stop the invading army or whatever, and and then you have to go run around and look for flowers and herbs, who cares?
That's no, that's
Except
I
in
mean,
Red Dead
all side
Redemption,
stuff,
because I did that and I was completely happy with myself.
But that's all a side thing, because I mean,
you're saying this that you don't like this game because you have a short attention span.
No,
There's-
I don't have the long time commitment required. I'm not saying I don't like the game. I'm just saying any RPG in general. Skyrim, I don't have a problem with the game. It's just I can't get into that game because I don't have the time to play it.
That's the same for me.
I can understand that. I guess there's just something about this game that I really feel like it's special.
It is a fun game. I feel it's more of a combat-based RPG than like in Skyrim, how it's more of adventuring and collecting things. With this, I feel it's very compelling to fight, but
Well, I'm in the same boat as you. Like, there's certain games that that you can invest 100 hours into it and get nowhere. Like, Greg, that's like whenever I talk to you and it's like, oh, I just like, I'll tell you, I just got Prototype 2. Well, I beat it in like last week. I'm like, how do you have the time for that? I guess I know, and I guess your situation may
this
be
guy
a lot.
doesn't sleep.
I'm a very
ever.
lonely man, Patrick.
Any gamer ladies out there listening, if
No.
just write the show.
well, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of time, but I mean, the time I do have, I'll sit down, I'll play Witcher for like 3 hours at a time, and I'll go through almost half a chapter. But once you get past the first couple towns, it kind of weeds out. Like, if you're really gonna like the game, you're gonna get past the second town, because that's when the story actually starts picking up. Everything starts picking up more and more. It does get political. That's the only thing that can be kind of confusing, because there is a lot of name drops. There are kind of a lot of characters to get to know. But once some of them start coming together, it really starts to blend to where you actually know what's going on a little bit. And even the team that put this together, they put together an animated short of what happened in the first game. They can go online, like through GameTrailers.com or anywhere to go.
that actually
look at the
cartoon.
cartoon.
That actually plays on here if you leave it on
Yeah,
the menu long enough.
Right. If you leave it on idle, it'll actually play, so you can actually see what happened in the first one, which is still confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Which also, The Witcher wasn't a game that a lot of people picked up because it was computer
Right,
only, so
right,
nobody
but it was
really knows
still-
the story.
Right, and it
Right.
was just really revered by the PC owners. And going through it, I mean, it's really rich and everything, but I can honestly see why people would not be that into it, because it takes a while to get into it.
You have to be very patient. There's no question about that. But I do feel like it's worth it. I'm not a very patient dude normally, but I feel like the payoff is worth it. And I mean, I'm not even anywhere near where Stormy's at in it.
Well, now with my with my critiques about it and my hate for just the game.
Is it really a hate,
it's not
or is
really
it a strong dislike?
Okay, it's a strong dislike. Now on a positive note, the game is gorgeous. The environments, the woods, the lighting effects, the physics, really good. I will, I'm not totally full of negativity.
Yeah, I mean, some other accolades that I think are worth mentioning are that they did add a lot of content to the console version. They added an opening that's really just absolutely stunning.
The pirate ship one.
Yeah,
That opening is sweet.
That completely drawed me into wanting to actually buy the game.
Right,
And you don't even play as that character.
Right. I mean, I saw Greg playing the PC version of this before I saw that trailer. I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like a cool game. I saw the trailer. I'm like, oh my god, that looks freaking amazing.
I wish games could be as awesome as the trailers.
Oh, yeah.
But
You can say the same thing about movies.
It's under well.
I saw the ending in the movie The Next, with starring Nicolas Cage. He knows what's happening next. You get it?
Well,
Wow.
I mean, there are restrictions on what you can and can't do in a game, especially on consoles, because consoles have a set amount of processing power, rendering power,
Right.
all that. So it's understandable that a game can't look as good as the trailer, but sometimes I wish that if they advertise it, I would rather see a mediocre to maybe higher resolution trailer and have a game that accurately depicts that, rather than having something that looks, holy shit, this looks amazing, and then you play the game and it's dumbed down about 5 notches in graphics.
Yeah.
Right.
The other cool thing is that they did not edit any of the content in this game. It has a lot of mature rated stuff, and as an adult gamer, God, even that sounds kind of dirty.
He buys those adult only games on his computer.
I like mature rated stuff. I'm a grown man. I want my games to be for grown men, and that's what this game is. This game.
If you see a movie that's like in this time frame, like Conan or any of them, it looks like that way.
You're exactly right. It would be full of like chicks completely naked and crazy stuff going on. Like it's. I mean, I hesitate to use the word realistic, but it just seems like a more accurate idea. Like
it puts you in more real situations as if you were watching the movie that way.
Yeah.
I mean, even within the first 10 minutes, it is extremely graphic. I mean,
right. As soon as you get past the opening title, it's sex.
The character, there's a completely fully naked woman, and it shows all of it, and they put it in the game.
That was probably my favorite part.
That's the only part he went to for the past 2 days before
he paused the game. He just kept restarting the game.
That's why I traded it in, because that part ended.
Okay, let's be less weird, please. Okay. Let's be less creepy. Let's be less creepy on the internet.
Let me put another let me put out another positive note there. The voice acting is really good. It is surprisingly good.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Some of these games, like some of the Fable games and whatnot, the voice acting it's just retarded. It's like over the top Elizabethan fake English accents.
Right.
And this actually sounds very legit.
Okay, so let's summarize briefly some pros and some cons, maybe kind of give your overall opinion for those out there that still haven't decided. I would say that some of the pros in the game are they spend a lot of time, they left a lot of detail in, they cut very, very, actually there's more content to it, which you wouldn't expect to happen in a console version. It looks good, it plays good, but you've got to be patient. The payoff is hours and hours in. So if you don't have that kind of tolerance for it, this might not be the best game for you. If I had to rank it 1 through 10, I'd probably give this game a pretty solid 9. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to continue to play it. I think it's great. What do you think, Conrad?
For me, I think the pros are being ported from a computer. The graphics are really, really solid for a console. The environments, the lighting looks great. So overall, I think the graphic feel of the game is very, very good. Not the best, but very good. The actual gameplay itself, the fighting, the maneuverability of your character, I think it's pretty good. The cons, like Greg and Patrick both said, it takes a long time to get into. And I'm not the kind of gamer that if I'm not enthralled right when I play it, somebody's getting an arrow straight through the forehead, or getting attacked by an Indra warrior, as Greg is. It just doesn't drag me in as much as I would like. For me, I would probably give this game a 7.5.
Okay.
I'd give it a 7.5.
What about you, Stormy?
I mean, as you can tell from everything I've said about it, I really like the game. Everything from gameplay, fighting style, how everything kind of fits together. It makes all of it blends really well. There's not anything that stands out that shouldn't be in the game. The character models look great. Not everyone looks the same. I do like that they added all the extra PC stuff into the console version and they didn't split it up as DLC. That was nice. So, I mean, altogether, I have to give it a 9.
Okay. Patrick?
Well, as the pessimist of this game,
As the Debbie Downer.
now I'm going to try to give it a compliment sandwich. So here we go.
That sounds delicious.
Well, just this is whet your appetite here. The graphics are amazing. I feel like a broken record saying what everybody else is saying. The physics great, the voice acting great. The negatives for me. I don't really care about the story, nor do I care about the character. And that could be just on my part from not playing enough of it. I do plan on giving this one a go later on as it goes down in price. I'm going to give it a 7.
Is that a generous 7?
This is a generous 7. With this, I'm going to say this is for fanboys only. This game is a time vampire, and unless you have the time, unless you have no job and you have all the time in the world to just sit around and play this game until your eyes bleed, I wouldn't waste my time yet.
Right on. That's
Okay.
a
So
good review.
from all of us, from Greg giving it a 9, me, Conrad giving it a 7.5, Stormy giving it a 9, and Patrick giving it a generous 7.
Generous 7.
Overall, we've ranked this game at about an 8 to 8.5.
Okay.
Sounds about right.
So, if Witcher 2 is not your speed, and it's not for everybody, there's a pretty good chance that the next one is. Prototype 2 is our other game to review this evening. Man, I don't even know where to start. So, Prototype 2 is the story of, what's this guy's name?
James
Heller?
Heller.
James Heller.
James
Sergeant
Heller.
James Heller.
Sergeant James Heller has been in the military forces for a very long time. And unfortunately, as a side effect of Alex Mercer and his crazy virusy thingy, his family
That's so
doesn't
technical.
doesn't do so well. They don't make it, and he gets pretty pissed off as a result. And they need people so bad that they have like a psych evaluation, and they're basically like, close enough. Go ahead and send him to the front line. Heller's going there to get his revenge on Mercer, and ultimately ends up becoming a prototype like Mercer.
By Mercer.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
So, that happens in the first 4 minutes. So, if you, it's kind of unusual to play a game where the person that you were the hero with in the first one is the villain in the second one. Very, very unusual.
I think it's brilliant.
I mean, it's weird because you play a game for so long, you kind of get something of an emotional attachment to the character that you're playing as. So when you find out that he's not as savory as you remember playing as him, it's just a little odd. Some interesting and cool things about Prototype 2. First of all, if you like just mindless action, I really can't think of a better, more bloodier game than this thing. It's just a beast.
It's essentially God of War met Spider-Man. Like, you can go around a full open city. You can run up and down buildings. You can glide through the air for extremely long periods of time. And then you hit the ground and you just cut everybody's heads off.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure that the team that worked on this is the same team that worked on the Incredible Hulk game.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
the same.
And as a result, it plays almost exactly like it. As a matter of fact, if you've played Prototype 1, you know what you're getting into because it feels almost identical.
I would agree with that.
One of the things that I don't like about Prototype 2 is the story. In its defense, I kind of feel like a game like this, you're not really buying the ticket for the story. You're buying it for the mindless destruction. But as an overall effect, I think it's worth mentioning that the story is nothing to write home about.
It's not like someone's going to see the Expendables thing is going to be the next Citizen Kane.
That's very true. But sometimes I talk to people that are really genuinely excited about what's going to happen in the story, and I didn't get that. I've actually played this all the way through. I played it considerably, but the story is really nothing special. It's very, very forgettable.
It's very run of the mill. I do like how whenever you absorb the different main problems, like the doctor. Eventually, there's a doctor eventually that you may find.
Hating Dr. Adventure.
Or you may not.
Or you may not. You
Spoiler free.
And I mean, there's different people you absorb throughout the game. Some of them have bigger roles than others, but I did like how they do the cutscenes because are they
Like the memories?
like the memories? They look like
Oh, those are like really acted out sequences. Like they hired actors and everything. I agree. I think that's cool. There's a lot of stuff that has Mercer and Heller talking where that Mercer is definitely played by a real person. I think that's an interesting twist. I think it adds a little bit of, I don't want to say, again, I don't want to use the word realism in a video game, but it does kind of
it makes it seem like a
connect it
movie
a little bit,
almost.
yeah. Honestly, when I played this, I had kind of already had a realistic goal. I just wanted something that was like the first one, and that's what this is. I mean, they didn't really change a lot of things. They've added a couple of new stuff, like the way that he hunts people now, the kind of weird pulsing system. I thought that was pretty cool. That is new, right? Or was that in the first one?
I don't remember it in the first one.
I think that is new.
Okay. So I like that. I like all the weapons. One of the things that I loathe about the first one that they fixed in this one is anytime you wanted to hijack a tank or a chopper or something, you'd have to grab it and then you'd have to like pound on these buttons while you're just getting destroyed with ammo fire. And it would take I know in video game time, like 1 second is like a year or something. But it was like 10 seconds, but you multiply that by the 5,000 tanks and choppers that I hijacked, and it became a kind of a pain. And so not only did they make that timing shorter, there's an upgrade later on that reduces it by like 75%, so you just press it once and you're done. I guess that's kind of a small detail, but it really annoyed me in the first one.
The weapons in this game, like your abilities, like your blade arm, your tendrils. The tendrils are probably one of my favorite. I didn't think I was gonna like those as much when I saw them like in the trailers and things like that. But whenever you're in a really tight situation and there's tanks and helicopters coming after you, if you hit somebody with your tendrils, it just sucks everything in together and blows everything up. So,
yeah, all of his weapons are pretty useful. Once I kind of got used to them, I found myself doing more and more. Like especially once I started getting around the city quickly, I was kind of like a hit and run vigilante. So other things that are kind of cons about this game. All of the side missions, all of the black net missions, super repetitive. They're all basically the same thing. You need to look like a guard. Oh yeah, did you hack that thing? Now hunt this guy. Now infiltrate their base. They'll kill them all. And you got to do that probably at
30,
least
40 times.
Not quite that bad, but at least half a dozen. Yeah. And so at first I was like, this is cool. It's a bunch of different elements. But by the fourth or fifth time, I was like, this all seems really similar, and it did lose kind of a lot of the charm. But again, these are all kind of little things. This is just what kind of kept it from being a great game. If you're looking for like basically the diehard of video games, this is it, because he's just like a take no crap tough guy, just your standard kind of anti-hero.
He is an anti-hero, but he also seems like a hero in the sense that he's trying to take out BlackNet and the Mercer virus, but he's also got he works with a priest through the game, which kind of gives him the feeling that he is a good guy, but also you can kill whoever you want to. If you want to run around, kill civilians, whatever, just chop them up, kill them all, and have a good time doing it.
Yeah. Oh, you guys haven't said much.
Well, this game kind of renewed my faith in sandbox games. For a while there, it was Rockstar sitting on the top, and I may be the anti-gamer, but I'm not the biggest fan of Grand Theft Auto. That being said, games more like Saints Row, Prototype, even like Infamous, some of those, I just find those to be a lot more fun. And maybe that's me not wanting to delve into something so serious as something like Witcher, which don't get me started again.
Have an emotional breakdown.
Exactly. But every now and then it's fun to put in a game and just mindlessly go around and just wreak havoc and with no repercussions or whatever.
I definitely agree with that sentiment. This was the kind of game that I would come home to after like working all day, and I'm just kind of
hating your life.
I'm just like, man, I just need to unwind, and that just happens to be by cutting lots and lots of fictional people in half.
I do like the environment, the map. I think is great.
Yeah, it's got. I mean, you can really see a lot of the city.
Yes.
I know they've added like that mist to help with the draw distance, but graphically, it's a pretty sharp game.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of other little things about it that do make it a good game. I like all the vehicles in it. I like the way you upgrade your skills. I mean, the things that I don't like about it are very minimal. I do feel like there should have been more variety, a lot more variety. And this is a game that you can probably knock out in probably 10 hours. I think I did everything, got all the collectibles and everything, and definitely under a dozen. And that I'm not one of those people that's like you got to have a game to go for 5 million hours to get your money's worth. I feel like if you got your money, it'd be good. So Prototype 2. I guess if I had to kind of boil it down to a number, I'm not going to rank this as The Witcher. I'm going to give it a 7.5. It's a really, really good game. It's got a lot of really, really awesome violence. And it is one of those games where you can just kind of, you only got about 10, 15 minutes to play. No problem. That's what this is for. You can kind of knock it out in a and then just come back to it whenever you're ready. But it's not for people that are looking for a good story. It's not for people that are easily bored by repetitive tasks, as video games sometimes do fall into that trap.
Ninja Gaiden 3.
So yeah, 7.5. Conrad?
For me, I thought they did very well going from the first to the second game. The first one, when it came out, I just got my PlayStation 3. So I was expecting games to have just unbelievably awesome graphics. When I played the first prototype, it felt like I was playing a PlayStation 2 game. And by my comment from this and The Witcher, it sounds like I'm a graphics whore, I guess. But in realism, I'm not. I would rather have a good story, a good fun overall game, and I'd be okay with that and have just run-of-the-mill graphics, other than having a game with amazing graphics and a really shitty, really terrible story, really bad gameplay. So gameplay is a big thing for me. And I think Prototype 2 pretty much hit it on the head. It does get repetitive after a while, especially when you go through the different layers and things you have to jump into to kill this person or find this guy or get information. Overall, I haven't found many faults with it. I would probably give this game, as well as The Witcher, an 8.5. It does have its repetitive moments. The graphics are good, and it's just a fun game to unwind with. It's a definite alternative to alcoholism.
It's the feel-good hit of the summer. Stormy, I know you're the only one that didn't have any hands-on time, but I think you've seen enough of it.
I've witnessed so much more of this game than a lot of people probably have.
What's your take on it?
I like watching it. It's one of those games where being as a gamer, a lot of gamers don't like watching other people play. They want to get their hands on the controller. I don't mind actually watching this because it's just like, hey, can Greg actually go all the way up that bit? Oh, he can. Can he rip that helicopter? Oh, he just did. Just watching all the stuff that you can do in this game is just pure insane. I mean, I played part of the first one, and like Conrad, I was not impressed with the graphics. I literally felt like I was playing Spider-Man 2 from a PlayStation.
Yes.
But the main character, the graphics of the main character looked great. It looked like a PS3 guy standing in a PS2 world, like he was about to say, "Where am I at?"
I'm just a PS3 guy in a PS2 world.
But I mean, watching all this play, I love all the abilities. They're really well thought of. Not all of them are the same. They have different abilities for every kind of way you want to play it. But I mean, again, it's just one of those games that you're just going to be playing something while you're not doing anything, while you're waiting on the pizza, or when you get off work and you don't feel like paying attention to what you're doing. So if I had to put a number on just what I've seen, I probably have to give it about 8 because it had good graphics, the gameplay looks sharp, and everything about it just looked like you'd have fun playing it, but just not a whole lot of substance.
Okay. Patrick?
This is what Prototype 1 should have been. It's a lot sharper. I think it's a lot more fast paced. There is a slight bit more to do than in the first one. However, you're going to find yourself most of the time disguising yourself as soldiers and breaking into military bases, just like in the first one. That being said, if you're a big fan of sandbox games, I definitely recommend this one. As everyone else has said, that this is a great game to just pick up and play and terrorize the people of whatever town this is.
New York Zero.
There we go.
Manhattan, yeah.
Yes, and just screw around for a little bit and whatnot. The story isn't as, I don't think the story is as terrible as Greg's leading on. It does have that, he's out for revenge, but he's been turned into a monster, mutant, whatever, feel to it, which is, it's been done. But again, what hasn't? There's a lot of things, and maybe that's another problem that I'm having, is that I just tend to get bored with things because I feel like it's just more of the same. However, I'm going to stop my...
How does that make you feel, Patrick?
We don't have enough time for that. But if I had to give this game a rank, I think I'm right on board with Conrad saying 8.5. This game isn't phenomenal, but I think it's a solid game. You'll definitely be entertained.
All right, so there we go.
So overall, with Greg giving it a 7.5, me giving it an 8, Stormy giving it a visual 8, and Patrick giving it an 8.5, we've accumulatively given it a solid 8.
All right, so there we go. That will conclude the first ever podcast of Strategy Guys. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, for listening to us. We will be back in 2 weeks. I think we're going to talk about Max Payne and Diablo 3. So make sure you catch us then as well.
Stay tuned.
Stay not.
Because it'll be a lot of fun.
Right.
Don't stay tuned. You'll be looking at Blake stuff for
Right.
2 weeks.
All right. So again, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you